Here we go.
Well, is that the cab?
No, this is the
Pinot.
My favorite. I
Pinot
haven't had
Noir.
a Pinot.
Okay,
She got
here's
me a bottle.
garbage.
So this is what Miles and Sideways talked about.
This is what I bought you for
Right.
Christmas.
Oh, I just saw that.
Pittsburgh wine. I've got Dallas.
There's a bunch of them in Erie up by the Great Lakes.
Yep.
Dallas, yeah, near mine. There, yeah.
Yeah, that's what his name
Let's also send you some records.
is.
Oh, look at the links on that stuff.
And what is today's date? 3/14.
Pretty good, huh?
The letters.
Yep.
Ah.
If you like the legs, Randy, turn the glass around. And then check out the ass, it's even better.
What's that? I like that.
Really? It's in the Rhone family.
I'm thinking
Different day. Yeah. Well, the Atlantic, but it's still, it's still the, it used to be the
What do you guys say in Pittsburgh? There's a boxing match and a hockey game right now.
Yes, yeah. And the Penguins can't stop it. Philly starts early, they start.
Yeah. So basically, you like the top half of the game. Sure. Can you give us a 35,000 grape for wine? Absolutely. Cool. So basically,
hurry up. Where's Rob?
all our vineyards, everyone harvests and does different things. That's one of the beautiful things about wine is there's so many different styles. It's a very subjective thing. I might think this is the greatest wine, or someone says it's okay, and someone doesn't like it at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody was going for the same thing. You're going to have one style of wine. That's like having one style of cuisine. Love Chinese food, but I'm not going to eat it every night. So basically, for us, we take a lot of care in the vineyards. It's all about the vineyard. You want to get the best possible raw ingredient you can. And we always have been farming in this valley for 3 generations on Zinfandel the whole time. So they know Zinfandel probably better than anybody else in this valley, really. Hand harvested, so we go out and when it's ripe, pick the grapes. All by hand, taking these little bins, and then we transfer it into half-ton bins, and back up over here. And from there, you get a forklift, and lift it up in the hopper here. You go from winery to winery, you can see these small ones like this, or you can see these huge ones. Grapes are going to go up the sorting table. This machine, which is the crusher to stemmer, is actually going to be on the other side here. So, sorting through all the grapes, what you're looking for is not necessarily underripe. You don't see a lot of underripe in the ripeness pretty early, but overripe, you need raisins. If you got a little bit of rain, maybe some rot, things like that. So again, sorted out in the vineyard and then sorted right over here. So going through depends on how good the year is. Sometimes you speed the thing up and you just pick up a few pieces, or sometimes it's really slow and tedious. It's not about making most wine, it's about making the best quality wine you can. So once the fruit goes into the crusher and stemmer, you kind of the internal of this, there's a cylinder in there that has all these kind of grape-sized holes in them, and then there's this rod that runs down the middle with all these arms on it that kind of fan out, like if you were to take your fingers like this, and they have all these little rubber fingers on them. So the berries go in there, or the whole cluster of fruit rather, and it spins around, and all of those fingers just kick off the fruit. So the berries shake down, they fall down on one side, just the grapes, and they've been busted up a little bit, so it's juice with all the skins, and then the stems come out the other. So you can get rid of the stems, and you can put them back for recycling, and go till them up and put them back in the soil kind of a thing, or you can just toss them. Then the grapes are going to go either back into a bin, but most likely or they can go into a tank.
All right, 20, 30,000.
Start fermentation. Getting into a little bit more detail, before fermentation starts, what you want to do is you want to extract the color and flavor out of those skins. Red wine is red because of the skins. For the most part, there's a few grapes that have red flesh, but the longer you keep the grape from the skin, the darker it's going to be, more extracted, more tannic it's going to be, so you kind of balance that out. A way to really bring out those flavors and colors is by doing punch down. So what you do, in fact, I'll grab one of the tools. One of these bins full of just the grapes that are broken out with the juice and everything. The skins float up to the top. You have to find a way to kind of mix that around. So you crack to the top, it pushes those grape skins all the way to the bottom, and it cycles all the color. Again, the longer it's in there, the more color you're going to get. So, you know, we'll do 3 punch downs manually every single day before fermentation and during fermentation to extract all that color and greatness out of the wine. So it's a manual part of the whole process. Last year, for example, we had about 158 bins out here that were all manually punched down. So a lot of care goes into it, absolutely. When you want to start fermentation, you're going to get a yeast strain, essentially. It'll ferment on its own eventually. It reaches a certain temperature because a grape naturally has its own yeast and everything like that. Grape has everything it needs to make wine. But you can introduce something that's a little bit more controlled. You put that in with the grapes, starts to fizz up a little bit. The sugars are being transformed into alcohol. You let those go until the sugars are completely transformed into alcohol and the wine is going to be completely dry. Then you essentially have a wine. Take that wine, stick it in barrel, age it for a certain amount of time, and then drink the bottle. To extract some more of the wine out of the skin, you have this press over here. You can dump all the skin after you take kind of free-run wine out of the bins or the tank, which essentially open the valve, let it flow out. And there's a ladder on the side that inflates and presses the skin to the outer walls, the inner walls. And then that bucket on the bottom, all the juice will kind of trickle down there, so you get a little bit more wine out of it. And then you can go back and blend. And
You blend that back into the first.
it
You
depends.
guys boil out of the stainless steel, you obviously boil out of the other barrel.
It goes back in the tank and then it goes into the bottling truck that we rent out. We actually just did bottling the last 3 days. So essentially they put all the barrels back in because, you know, it's a lot of it's single vineyard, but they'll select different spots from the vineyard in different barrels, and then they'll blend it back. So they come up with a recipe, put it back in the tank, let it sit there, and then it goes into the bottle.